Hey guys, welcome to your 2-Minute Money Manager. I'm your host, Stacey Johnson. This answer is brought to you by MoneyTalksNews.com, serving up the best in personal finance news and advice since 1991. Now, today's question comes to us from Kathy. And Kathy says, what do you think of federal rent checks? I've been hearing so much about this program. Is it legitimate or is it too good to be true? Well, I have to admit, Kathy, I'd never heard of federal rent checks before you sent me that question. But I hopped online. I immediately found what it was, did a little homework, read an article or two, and now I'm ready to help you understand what's going on here. What Kathy's asking about is an investment program called, as I said, federal rent checks. She saw online. Okay, you can see it too. Just do a web search for federal rent checks and you'll see it. But look and don't touch. You'll understand why in just a minute. Now, the pitch basically implies that since the federal government pays rent on some of the buildings it uses, and you as a taxpayer basically own the federal government, maybe you should be entitled to your fair share of the monthly rent the government is paying. Simple concept, right? Well, here's a cut and paste of a few words they use to sell it. They say, each of your federal rent checks could initially be made out for $1,795, but over time, those checks could be worth much, much more. You ever notice how all these pitches use these odd amounts like $1,795? Anyway, that's what they do. After a brief written pitch like this, you're going to be asked to view an online video. It's kind of long. It explains the concept further, and it's packed with pictures of real people with their fat federal rent checks that they're getting every month. Some of the checks are more than $15,000. This is a monthly check. So you got some guy holding up a check for $15,000. Now, is this legit? Well, if the question is, do the feds actually pay rent? The answer to that is, sure. Uncle Sam absolutely does occupy a lot of office space and lots of buildings nationwide, and some of those buildings he owns, but some of them he rents. So sure, the feds are definitely paying rent, but who are they paying it to? And this is where the logic kind of breaks down here. Think about it. If you've ever paid rent, who are you paying it to? Answer? Well, you're paying it to your landlord, aren't you? You're paying it to the person who owns the building. So if the federal government is renting something from a building, then the landlord is probably a company that owns the building. Could be a real estate investment trust, otherwise known as a REIT. A REIT, or real estate investment trust, is simply a company that owns, manages, or finances real estate. In other words, it collects rent from tenants like Uncle Sam, and it passes along the income to the company's owners, the shareholders, one of which could be you. How do you become a shareholder and get a chunk of the rental income the REIT collects? Well, you buy shares of it, just like you would any other stock. You see, REITs are traded on exchanges. You can also buy groups of REITs, like with a mutual fund or with an exchange-traded fund, or you can buy an individual company that owns property, an individual REIT. So here's your bottom line. If you want to collect federal rent checks every month, there's no problem. You just need to own shares in the company, the REIT, that owns the buildings. And that's ultimately what this pitch is all about. It's about buying REITs. And anyone could do that anytime. And here's what they're not telling you in this pitch. In order to collect your $15,000 monthly check, you're likely going to have to put more than $200,000 into a REIT, a stock, and one that's not guaranteed, and like all stocks, has risk. So here's your takeaway. Pitches like this one, Kathy, are common, and they've been around longer than I have. Like many stupid investment tricks, this one starts off with a kernel of truth. Federal agencies paying rent. But it paints a simple truth as a shocking secret that few understand, and only our pitchman can reveal, which he'll do for a price. Bottom line, the same thing I've now said at least 1 billion times is the bottom line. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. I hope that helps, Kathy, and I hope I see you all right here next time.